I'm Senior Airman Blake Strobach, and on behalf of Air Mobility Command and the men and women of the 736 AMXS, I welcome you to today's retirement ceremony honoring Master Sergeant Jeffrey Taylor. Today, the United States Air Force pays special tribute to one of its finest on the occasion of his retirement after a distinguished career spanning over 23 years of dedicated service to his nation. The officiating officer for today's ceremony is Lieutenant Cameron Meyer. Next, we would like to extend a special welcome to Master Sergeant Jeffrey Taylor's family, friends, and mentors that have played a significant role in his career, including his wife, Lindsay, his daughters, Caitlin and Sarah, his son, Bryce, his mother, Nikki, and his father, Mark. Also joining us today are the commander of the 736 Aircraft Maintenance Squadron, Lieutenant Colonel Sean D. Cox, and the chief of the 736 Aircraft Maintenance Squadron, Chief Master Sergeant Aaron Hemberger. We also would like to welcome all commanders, chiefs, first sergeants, and their spouses, and other members of Team Dover, and especially the men and women of the 736 AMXS. We appreciate your presence and camaraderie, and thank all of you for being with us today. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the arrival of the official party and the playing of our national anthem. Following the national anthem, an invocation will be given by Chaplain Dwayne Ragnar.
Please join me in a word of prayer. Almighty God, we thank you for the many leaders that you have placed before us. And today we want to thank you for the life and service of Master Sergeant Jeffrey Taylor. We thank you for his many years of service as he has dedicated much of his time taking care of airmen and serving his country for 23 years. Lord, we thank you for his family who have loved and supported him every step of the way as they have made great sacrifices for him to be able to serve his country. Today we look to you for your blessing as he transitions from active duty to active retirement from the United States Air Force. As the Taylor family closes one door and opens the next, we ask that you continue to guide them and keep them with your peace, love, and protection. And may they always know that you are with them. It is because of you that we're here today, and it is because of you that we will continue to move forward in your grace and mercy. We ask and believe all these things in your mighty name. Amen.
Thank you, Chaplain Ragnar. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. It gives me great pleasure to introduce the officiating officer for today's ceremony, Lieutenant Cameron Meyer.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's an honor for me to be the officiating officer for Master Sergeant Taylor's retirement ceremony. I have only known Taylor for about 6 months, but in that short time, I have witnessed his amazing skills and personality. After a while of working with him, I was able to see past the towering crew chief titan and saw his true nature of being a tech wizard. It's hilarious because he can troubleshoot any computer problem in the office, but was born in the era of the stone tablet. Normally, you don't go to your grandpa for your computer problems. All jokes aside, Master Sergeant Taylor joined the Air Force in 2001 as a crew chief for the C-17 just before 9/11 attacks. He has excelled in every aspect of maintenance, from the flight line to back shop to pro super. But one of his most remarkable roles was as a lead APG instructor at Joint Base Pearl Harbor Hickam. There he trained almost 1,000 airmen, equipping them with the essential knowledge to keep the mission going. His impact has been immense and will last for generations. Master Sergeant Taylor has served at Charleston Air Force Base, Hickam Air Force Base, Spangdahlem Air Force Base, and Dover Air Force Base. He has deployed 7 times, 4 of them to Al Udeid. Master Sergeant Taylor has accomplished and achieved a lot throughout his career. The Air Force and the C-17 mission have greatly benefited from his contributions. Speaking about his contributions, I would like to highlight the significance of his work for the C-17 community. The C-17 has been a vital asset in the U.S. military since the first production model was delivered to Charleston Air Force Base, June 14, 1993. During Master Sergeant Taylor's time with the C-17, it has participated in numerous operations, such as Operation Enduring Freedom, the Iraq War, and the Syrian Civil War. The aircraft has carried U.S. soldiers in combat, evacuated casualties, performed high-risk airdrops in remote combat zones, delivered supplies and weapons, airdropped humanitarian aid, and transported the Navy SEALs who killed Osama bin Laden. As a maintainer and instructor of maintainers, Master Sergeant Taylor has been involved in all those operations. Every day, the C-17 has a mission to complete, and that is only possible because of people like Master Sergeant Taylor and many of you sitting in this room. Taylor, your impact on the mission and this Air Force spans over 23 years, and the nearly 1,000 airmen you have instructed and passed down your wisdom to. Thank you for your service, and may your next chapter in life bring you happiness and peace.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand as Lieutenant Meyer presents Master Sergeant Taylor the Meritorious Service Medal for faithful, dedicated service to his country and the United States Air Force. Attention to orders. Citation to accompany the award of the Meritorious Service Medal, 1st Oak Leaf Cluster. Master Sergeant Jeffrey Taylor distinguished himself in the performance of outstanding service to the United States as Aircraft Support Flight Chief, 736 Aircraft Maintenance Squadron, 436 Mission Generation Group, 436 Airlift Wing, Dover Air Force Base, Delaware. During this period, Sergeant Taylor reacted to a short-notice Hurricane Isaias evacuation order. He rapidly constructed a generation flow plan for 7 C-17 aircraft, driving an entire fleet evacuation in under 20 hours. Additionally, he led 3 deployed teams across 11 bases during the COVID-19 pandemic. His leadership was key to the 8th Expeditionary Air Mobility Squadron's 3-year high 94% quality assurance compliance rate and the 436 Mission Generation Group's Verney Orr Award win. Furthermore, Sergeant Taylor led the United States Central Command's Maintenance Recovery Team Hub, deploying 11 teams for the rapid closures of Kandahar and Bagram airfields. Finally, as the squadron's Wing Inspection Team lead, Sergeant Taylor established the Wing Inspector General's first multi-capable airman evaluation and 6 courses of action for 5 exercises. His efforts concluded in the Wing's first Force Generation certification and secured his Squadron Maintenance Support Professional of the Year award. The singularly distinctive accomplishments of Master Sergeant Taylor culminate a distinguished career in the service of his country and reflect great credit upon himself and the United States Air Force. Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing for the reading of the retirement order.
Publish the order.
Attention to orders. Department of the Air Force, Washington, D.C. Special Order Number AC006697, effective 31 March 2024. You are relieved from active duty, 736 Aircraft Maintenance Squadron, Dover Air Force Base, Delaware. You are retired effective 1 April 2024, per Air Force Instruction 36-3203, in the grade of Master Sergeant. Proceed to formal selection by order of the Secretary of the Air Force. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. We will now present Master Sergeant Taylor with a certificate of retirement. It reads, Certificate of Retirement from the Armed Forces of the United States of America. To all who shall see these presents, greetings. This is to certify that Master Sergeant Jeffrey Taylor, having served faithfully and honorably, will be retired from the United States Air Force on the first day of April 2024. Signed, Colonel William C. McDonald, 436 Airlift Wing, and General David W. Alden, Chief of Staff, United States Air Force. Next, we would like to invite Lindsay Taylor to the stage. Lindsay will now affix the retirement pin on her husband's lapel. We will now present Master Sergeant Jeffrey Taylor with a certificate of appreciation from the President of the United States. It reads, Dear Jeff, thank you for service in the United States Armed Forces. I am proud to have served as your Commander-in-Chief, and I am pleased to join your family, friends, and colleagues in recognizing your career and accomplishments. Throughout history, the dedicated men and women of our military have protected our citizens and preserved the ideals that make our country strong. Their courage and sacrifice have inspired countless people and have helped shape America's character. On behalf of a grateful nation, I thank you for your contributions to our security and to the cause of peace and freedom. Your service, patriotism, and selfless devotion have helped advance the universal hope of liberty at home and around the world. Laura and I send your best wishes for health and happiness in the years ahead. May God bless you, and may God continue to bless America. Sincerely, George W. Bush. We will now present Master Sergeant Jeffrey Taylor with a certificate of appreciation from the Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force. It reads, Certificate of Appreciation from the Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force. I am proud to join your friends and family in congratulating you on your retirement from the United States Air Force. Master Sergeant Jeffrey G. Taylor. The achievements and contributions you have made throughout your career are indicative of the core values of our great service. Your retirement is well deserved, but your selfless contributions will be sorely missed. On behalf of all airmen, thank you for your faithful and devoted service to our nation. As this chapter in your life closes and a new one begins, I hope the years ahead are filled with more great memories and continued success. Signed, Chief Master Sergeant Joanne S. Bass, Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force. Now, you have listened to several accounts of Master Sergeant Taylor's service to our nation. However, we know that such service is not done without the love and support of our families. At this time, we will recognize the contributions of Mrs. Taylor with the presentation of her Air Force Certificate of Appreciation. At this time, we would like to invite Mrs. Taylor to the stage once again. We will now present the Certificate of Appreciation from the United States Air Force. It reads, In grateful appreciation, the United States Air Force presents this certificate of recognition to Mrs. Lindsay Taylor for the commitment and numerous contributions that made positive impacts to the nation's defense. Thank you for the support which gave strength and purpose to your spouse's service. Signed, Colonel William C. McDonald, Commander, 436 Airlift Wing, and General David W. Alden, Chief of Staff, United States Air Force. We will now present Mrs. Taylor with a certificate of appreciation from the Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force. It reads, Certificate of Appreciation from the Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force. On behalf of all Air Force airmen and their families, the Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force presents this certificate of appreciation to Lindsay Taylor. I join your spouse, family, and friends in thanking you for the numerous contributions and sacrifices you made in support of our United States Air Force. Your dedication gave strength and purpose to your spouse's service in defense of our nation. Signed, Chief Master Sergeant Joanne S. Bass, Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force. At this time, Master Sergeant Taylor would like to present his wife Lindsay, his daughters Caitlin and Sarah, his son Bryce, his mother Nikki, and his father Mark, each with a bouquet of flowers in appreciation for their unwavering support. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, please bring forward any retirement gifts that you may have for Master Sergeant Taylor.
No, look, so it's a TC Max little cutout here. TC Max cutout here because he was in charge and knows everything TC Max. So we'll figure it out when he leaves, kind of, maybe, I don't know. But nice little golden ratchet here for you in your time, and I just wish you luck. I'm not going to read it all, that's for them, but for you. But yeah, we really appreciate you. We will miss you dearly, and I will still be calling you. So keep that same number. Yes, sir. Thank you.
So that plaque was going to be an Excel spreadsheet, but none of us could figure it out since you
broke
left.
These gifts are bestowed upon Master Sergeant Taylor for the 23 years of service he has given in defense of our nation. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Master Sergeant Jeffrey Taylor, retired. Master Sergeant Taylor, the floor is yours.
Of course, it's on your phone.
I have no idea. I have no idea.
All right, first of all, I'd like to thank Lieutenant Meyer for taking this on for me, especially being in the middle of snow season, a week after getting dumped on. I know that was a lot of extra work to have to deal with, and I do appreciate it. Everyone in Sherlock and everything, thanks as well for taking this on, helping out, getting all this set up. Everybody at CTK, thank you for being here. Thank you for all your all's hard work. I mean, honestly, we made a lot of changes. A lot of people came in. We got the right people in the right place, and it just progressively got better. And, you know, I'm sure Sergeant Blessing and Lieutenant Meyer will go with this too, that, you know, as we went along going to meetings, it just got easier and easier because we had less stuff to actually have to talk about, and that was because your all's hard work. Lieutenant Colonel Cox, Chief Honey, thank you for being here and let me hang around for an extra year.
Mr. Parker.
Colonel, Chief, thanks for letting me hang around for next year, doing all the Forge In stuff, and you know, I'm glad we got to where we needed to be. Kind of, hopefully I'm right from what I heard, it sounds like we were kind of in a better position than what a lot of the other squadrons in AMC are. My mom, thanks for making it out here, and thanks for asking me to talk to the Air Force recruiter first before the Army recruiter, because pre 9/11, yeah, I rolled to be a lot different if I was on the Army. No offense, but. And last but not least, my family, for tagging along for this ride. It's been a long one, and there's been a lot of hours, off shifts, deployments, TDYs, been a lot of stuff to put up with, so I definitely appreciate it. Like Lieutenant Meyer said, you know, I managed to make my whole career out of AMC on C-17s. There were a lot of opportunities that it wasn't supposed to be that way. I can tell you, out of tech school, my entire class got orders to Altus when they were still sending military people there. I don't know who our tech school instructor knew, but he made some calls for us and got everybody out of that assignment. So for all of us, but 2 went to Charleston, the other 2 went to McCord. So that was our first run in from going elsewhere. Out of Charleston, my first set of orders, I was deployed in 2010. I actually got hit to go to Dakota to the 130 unit. So I would have been PACAF, but I got medically disqualified. So that was the second shot. And then the third shot was when I was at Spangdahlem. When I came here, I actually came here out of cycle because I had med board, and my TCM was like 3 months late submitting my package. So I missed my cycle, and my cycle was Herbert, Holloman, and Cannon. So yeah, I dodged that one and got here out of cycle, and I'm glad I did. How I made it downstairs instead of upstairs, I don't know. But, you know, I said I'm definitely glad I'm made it here and did a whole career out of AMC. You know, Lieutenant Meyer mentioned like the en route time that we spent. You know, so primarily was 17s, you know, but I got hands on C5Bs and the en route, the M's and the KC10s. So that was definitely an interesting experience. Say Charleston. I did my first 10 years in Charleston. You know, pre 9/11. So as soon as that happened, I mean that ramp went from full to empty in a day, and it was a long 10 years. First deployment to Rhein-Main Air Base, which shared runway with Frankfurt International to Germany in '02. I mean, it was a fun trip going to Frankfurt, but we were pushing 30 to 40 lines a day, so I mean, we definitely earned it. So it's pumping all this stuff into the system. And let's say the first time I really had a feel of what AMC can really do was '05 and Katrina, because we had a big response out of Charleston going to Katrina. You know, working 12, 13, 14 hours, go home, and then you turn on the news because you know what your jets are doing, and you're watching the news. All these people, hey, my jets are going there to help them. So I think seeing that big overarching picture that AMC can do, that was the first experience, and it was pretty memorable. Hickam, Hickam was a good assignment. First went to en route Panama, so you can't argue 14 days a month. Did a lot of interesting things out there as well. I think one of the biggest things was Missile Defense Agency was doing their THAAD testing, so we constantly had THAADs, missiles coming out, which takes up the entire cargo compartment of the 17. So it was pretty cool getting to see stuff like that, Navy SEAL equipment. And then the RTC instructor gig was kind of a pick up our guy. The APG instructor just got promoted, so that's how I got moved into it. It was a local hire. Basically, it's just teaching Q-tip to en route guys. You know, we take teams to McCord or back here to Charleston or here to Dover to teach, get everybody spun up to at least 80% qual. So said it was a lot of people who got to teach, and it was definitely a lot of interesting experience to help all the en routes get stood up to a good point where they can support their mission. Spangdahlem was definitely a lucky pickup. I would definitely recommend going there if you're trying to go overseas versus Ramstein. Spangdahlem is just overflow for Ramstein, so it's very slow there. Like, I mean, there were months where we didn't even have 5 jets in a month. Yeah. But the one thing I would definitely say I took away from being there was with a slow pace, you've got leadership, QA, they still have all their inspections to do, so they get to focus on things you kind of take for granted in an MOB. A lot of programs and stuff where they can really dig into it. So it was definitely a lot that I was able to learn. Is CTK, you think you have it easy now. En routes don't have DMS at all, so guess who does all the DMS functions? CTK does. So if you want to know why I know so much LRS stuff, that's why. We had to do their job for a couple of years. Yeah. And then wrap it up, like I said, coming here to Dover was pretty interesting. I know it was a long 4 years, a lot of medical stuff. Obviously we all had to deal with COVID, which is pretty rough. And I believe I was the first person in the squadron to get COVID, so there was the month of lockdown that I also had to deal with. And then for those who don't know, before COVID, I had ended up hitting my head on a plane and got a concussion from it. So the whole probably a couple of years was pretty hard for me to kind of get spun back up and relearn and heal and figure things out. But we had plenty of people out in the production that was a huge help for me to figure things out, and then also to be able to come over into CTK and just kind of keep going. So I think that's pretty stable, if that's what you would call it for a crew chief, for a maintainer. But all that to say, I've learned 2 things. One, and it was kind of what I figured, just kind of figured out from seeing is, you know, we've probably heard mission first, people always. But what I've come to see is if you take care of your people, the people will take care of the mission. Because the planes aren't going to fix themselves, they're not going to fly themselves, they're not going to load themselves. But if you take care of your people, you make sure they're good to go, they're equipped, they're trained, and you got their back. When it's time to knuckle down and get the job done, they will get it done for you. And the second thing, and I heard this a long time ago, was the Air Force was fine before you showed up, and the Air Force will be fine after you leave. It means you're not a single point of failure. The commander goes on leave, the squadron doesn't shut down because he's gone. Somebody else will keep going on. You might have all the answers, but somebody else knows where to look. But if you keep, my recommendation is definitely keep that in mind and don't push yourself so hard that you dig yourself into a hole, because it will definitely stress you out and to the point of burnout, and burnout sucks. Yeah, I had you in mind for that one. You'll still do big things, but with that, that's all I got.